Hey everyone, it's Iconath here from Return of the Fan, and some worrying signs about the new Ghostbusters Afterlife movie. I don't know whether you agree with me or not, but let's have a look at what Spencer Bakuli at Bounty Into Comics has written. So, Ghostbusters Afterlife director Jason Reitman, so son of Ivan Reitman, says upcoming sequel will expand on the 2016 reboot story theme. Oh, you're probably thinking, oh my god, it's going to be a complete disaster. But no, it's not quite as bad as you think. But there are some still worrying signs for this particular movie. So despite the Ghostbusters answer the call standing as one of the most magnificent cinematic disasters in recent history, Ghostbusters Afterlife director Jason Reitman has somehow managed to pull a positive aspect from the midst of the wreckage, revealing in a recent interview that his upcoming franchise sequel will expand one of the 2016 reboot's central story themes. Now, I never watched the 2016 reboot movie because I knew it was going to be crap and trash, and I was right. So I'm very glad I didn't go and see that particular movie. I don't want to give them any of my hard-earned money. Speaking with SFX magazine for the October issue, Reitman, I think that's how you pronounce it, asserted that Paul Feig directed 2016 reboot helped him personally take interest in the idea that the Ghostbusters could be anyone, which he in turn expanded upon in Ghostbusters Afterlife, while always focusing on the family aspect and the history that was created by the original films. Every Ghostbusters film has up until now been about opening of a company, friendship through the window of a business, said Reitman. Screenwriter Gil Kennan and I wanted to make a movie about family. Doesn't sound too bad so far. As he previously revealed, Ghostbusters Afterlife will follow the family of Dr. Egon Spengler, particularly his grandchildren, as they discover the history of the founding Ghostbusters' involvement with the paranormal and fight back against the horrors left over from the events of the original film. Now, this is what's starting to worry me a little bit, because if there's going to be a particular focus on his grandchildren, and it looks like that their grandchildren are pretty young, I'm not looking forward to a movie where the kids are the heroes of the movie. It's just not a movie that I would be interested in, being a very old person myself. However, rather than beginning from a place of profit, anticipation, or outright nostalgia baiting, Reitman explained, every story that I've ever told began with a character, and noted in the case of Afterlife, it was a 12-year-old girl standing in a field with a proton pack. Yes, so if that's going to be your main essence of your story, a 12-year-old girl, yeah. At first I didn't know who she was, he continued. Eventually I knew that she'd be a genius. Of course, she would have to be a genius, a 12-year-old girl who found the neutrino wand in her grandfather's basement. I knew that her brother would find Ecto-1 in a barn and go joyriding. Eventually I realised that she was a Spengler. What? But yep, that has to be a 12-year-old girl who happens to be a genius and just knows how to use the proton pack because she's a genius and she's a girl. That's pretty obvious, right? So look at this little kid here. Is that the girl? I think that's the girl. She's got the proton pack on. So Jeremy from the Quartering, another big YouTuber that I watch very regularly, made this particular comment, and it's well worth repeating, that do you remember how heavy those particular proton packs were in the original series? So unless she's actually created or modified it herself, how can she actually handle the weight of that particular proton pack? I mean, I guess you can't really tell in a still image, but yeah, that would just seem, a 12-year-old girl being able to lift the, 200-300 kilogram or pound backpack on her back. Doesn't quite sound so plausible, right? So yeah, this has got me a little bit worried, because if it's going to be a kids movie, then I am out. And I really loved the first two Ghostbusters movie, the original and the sequel. Even though the sequel wasn't quite as good as the original one, I still really enjoyed it when I was young, and still like to watch it. The Spenglers, Reitman explained, are a single mom and two kids, and they're a family that loves one another but struggles to connect. When anyone is born into a family, they arrive inside a mystery that started generations before them, Part of any life is trying to figure out where you came from and what drama led to your arrival. This is the moment at which we find Phoebe and Trevor. So again, it looks like Phoebe the girl and Trevor the guy, I assume it is, the boy, doesn't really say, are going to be the main focus of this movie. I mean, I'm quite happy that Paul Rudd is in it because I really like Paul Rudd as an actor and found his Ant-Man movies quite enjoyable, although they're not, the best thing ever. So Ghostbusters Afterlife is currently set for release in November 18th, so not too long to wait. About another month and a week or so. So some of the comments down in the comments section of this is quite funny, so we should have a read of these. Is it so hard? So from Damzog87, is it so hard to understand that the secret to Ghostbusters' success in large measure was its cast? It's hard to go wrong when you have Bill Murray and Dan Aykroyd in the same movie. Totally agree. Don't expect much from any Ghostbusters movie that can't get a cast together of that same caliber. It's the same thing with all these remakes. You can't get anything off the ground when you don't have the same kind of talent pool to draw from that they had back in the 70s and 80s. Totally agree with that statement, right? It was the cast, the interaction between the cast, which made the original Ghostbusters movies so awesome. NK1701, two things. Stop pandering to people who crashed the franchise into the ground. Yeah, 2016 Ghostbusters just smashed the franchise, right? So much so that Ghostbusters Afterlife completely dismisses it. Just say you wanted to make a great film in the pattern of the first. Why does there always have to be an agenda? Yep. This is a good one. I watched Ghostbusters the other day, and it's hard to believe you could have three guys and the regular guy who can recite and discuss made-up technical data and make it look completely plausible like those four men did. They just can't make films today like they did back then. Look at all the remakes. Remakes are always a part of the industry, but there's so many and none of them are any good. I can't remember any decent remake. Can you? If you can, let me know in the comment section. I'd love to know, but I can't think of any movie which has had an actually awesome remake compared to the original. As a kid, I saw the films like Ghostbusters, Goonies, Return of the Jedi. I saw one of these unbelievable awful remakes a few years ago and had to stop going to the movies. At least they never made terrible Goonies remake. I think that's on the cards though, mate. That and Back to the Future seems to be safe. Oh god, let's just hope they don't make a Back to the Future remake. That would be absolutely horrible. Here we go. Don't have high hopes for this one. The Stranger Things kids are pretty terrible actors, and I don't have much trust in any reboot these days. That's the thing. They seem to be going for a Stranger Things vibe with these young kids in it. I heard this movie is good, and that he achieved better nostalgia with Ghostbusters after than Jar Jar Abrams did with the Disney Star Wars, and even he should know that Ghostbusters remake is terrible and should not be mentioned at all. Don't mention it when you're promoting your movie. That's probably a good idea. Was there any other useful comments that we need to read? No, that was it really. So yeah, here we go. Lol, no one cares about Stranger Things or its terrible child actors anymore. So yeah, I'm an old person. I come from the old school Ghostbusters. I mean, I just can't see, young kids going around being the heroes of a Ghostbusters movie. Just doesn't do it for me. I mean, maybe it'll ring true for a younger generation. Maybe the movie is not going to be made for me, but in that sense, that's a lot of the existing Ghostbusters fan base, right? All of us old people that were young when the originals came out. Just think of the live-action Thunderbirds movie. Remember that one? Do you remember that one? Right? Oh, Thunderbirds was just completely awesome when I was a kid. Don't watch the cartoon crap, the CGI crap that they put out recently. Get your kids to watch the original Thunderbirds series. Get them on Blu-ray or something. Try and get with the original aspect ratio, not the cropped one, to make it look widescreen, because that's just rubbish. Get the original aspect ratio version. The original Thunderbirds was just awesome. I still remember them as a kid, just gobsmacked at the amazing models and things that they have back then. But the movie, that was just absolute terrible, because they went for try to make a movie for the younger generation when you need to make a movie for the older generation who were the old fans of it, because there were no apart from the original series, there was nothing else for the younger generation to get to grips with. So unless they got around to watching the old series, they weren't a fan. Right? I would love to see a live action Thunderbirds movie, but not as some sort of kids movie. I want it to be a proper adult version, right? That would be just so awesome if we get a Thunderbirds movie on that. But I think the time has actually gone. Anyway, what do you think? What do you think about Ghostbusters Afterlife? Would you like to see other remakes for movies but actually be really good? That would be really awesome. Let me know what you think in the comments section. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. If you don't like it, you're welcome to give me a thumbs down. If you like my content, please give me a subscription. It would be much appreciated because it helps getting my content out there into the YouTube algorithm, and that would be very greatly appreciated. Otherwise, hopefully I will see you in the next episode.